You didn't pronounce your last name for me.
Lacerda.
Lacerda. You know what? I'm going to do first names and you introduce yourself.
Yeah.
It's better. Testing. Okay, it's very loud. All right, anybody who wants to listen, please sit down. We're about to start. And we're going to be discussing, do we need ETH killers? Is that really what we need? Is there a need for competition to the Ethereum blockchain? I think that might be a bit obvious, but we're going to try our best to really rustle up a bit of a debate in that. And so we have a few questions and an amazing panel. We've got Matt, Joana, and Axenia. And they're going to introduce themselves now, and then we're going to get started. And then, does everyone have cards? Yes? We have cards? You do not have a card? We're going to get a little help with cards. Who doesn't have it? Put your hand up, please. Great. Yeah, to vote. And are we in the Discord? Because there's live voting inside the Discord, you can type your comments. I can read them out loud, so I really recommend you get into the Discord. Nice. Okay, we have one person that still needs a card. Joel? Orange. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start. Let's do ladies first, so we'll go counterclockwise here. Please take it away.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Axenia. I'm a marketing lead of NFT marketplace running on Ton blockchain. Little recap, Ton is blockchain originated from Telegram, and which went open sourced a few years ago. And we're connecting social mechanics with NFTs and building it up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joana Lacerda. I'm the head of NFT initiatives at the Algorand Foundation. I wanted to ask all of you who knows anything about Algorand. Have you ever heard about Algorand? Okay, so yeah.
We have some enthusiasts here.
Yeah, that's nice, that's nice. So the Algorand Foundation is responsible for the scalability and adoption of the Algorand technology. We are a layer 1 blockchain. We are one of the fastest, the most scalable and trustable blockchains out there. So yeah, very excited to be with this amazing panel today.
Really excited to be with you today at Lisbon, at NFC. Thanks for the invitation, John Carp and the whole team for organizing this event. And thanks to all of you to be there today and to my colleagues, panelists. So I'm Matthieu. I work on the at Polygon Labs on the community side. And a little disclaimer. So opinions on my own. Why I work for Polygon Labs, I will express my own opinion. So any information I share today does not represent the company. And do your own research and do what you believe in.
Nice. Okay. And I can see that Discord is moving in the background. We have some GMs, GM to whoever wrote that. And I see a question, what makes Polygon business development team so good? Polygon's doing pretty well with the business development side, I feel, no?
So yeah, we're onboarding a lot of big names in the space. I think we successfully onboarded Web2 companies into Web3. So that's very important for global adoption. And 2021 was the first step. And 2 years later, it becomes really inevitable what's going to happen with blockchain in the future. So we know we're there. It's definitely our future. But there are a lot of challenges. And all contributors, all builders should stick together to make a decentralized applications and solutions available to everyone.
Well said. So we have a question. If anyone on the panel would like to comment, and then I would like someone in the audience to comment as well. And it is the layer 1 war over? And perhaps maybe you could describe what that even means, because we discussed it privately.
Yeah, I can start. Yeah, so when we were talking actually before this panel, and of course sharing my point of view about this, I think it's not about a war. It's about collaboration. It's about knowing where everyone fits, because I really believe that each of us has a room and a very big mission, because in the end of the day we are all working towards the same goal, right? Decentralization. But one thing I really believe, and maybe it might be a bit controversial, is that some blockchains are stepping on top of others, right? And of course, some are doing really great business development deals. Some are doing really great achievements in terms of sustainability and scalability and adoption. So where we position ourselves, I think it's not about a war. It's more about decentralized collaboration. I think we still miss that. And we'll be more than happy to hear everyone's opinions here about this.
I think it's really not about the war between the blockchains, but the war between traditional finance and DeFi and censorship over freedom. And the more we can build together, the more cool teams join in the space. This is the way to go to Web3, to mass adoption everyone keeps talking about. And we also talk about decentralization. Why there should be just ETH and BTC. Like, decentralization is about many teams bringing value to something we all here believe in is Web3 space.
And what about gas fees? The gas.
Okay.
Everyone complains about the gas.
Yeah, so...
How do we argue that?
Yeah, gas fees, I think that gas fees block a lot of the adoption on this space. On Algorand, we have sub-penny gas fees, so it's like $0.001 for a transaction, which is almost nothing, right? And this is one of our main advantages. One thing I see, for instance, from the Ethereum blockchain, and we were talking about that, like, for instance, in the gaming ecosystem, how can you play games and make multiple transactions when gas fees are so high on a blockchain like Ethereum, right? So we really need these, and that's exactly the point of where we fit and where we don't fit. And I think that Ethereum, for instance, fits on a lot of things, but in terms of scalability, real-world use cases, it's still missing a comparison with Algorand, for instance.
But I feel like Ethereum never set out to be the be-all, end-all. I think it's become that to us because it is, one of the most, with the strongest infrastructure and innovation. But for gaming, for example, there was never the intention to actually be, the go-to blockchain for gaming. So I think that we're putting a lot of expectation also on one blockchain. And I think that perhaps is not really the best thing.
So to follow up with gas fees, Ethereum was the biggest ecosystem, and little by little, through the months, we see that people start to use more and more other chains. And about Polygon specifically, so the fees are between 1 and 2 cents on Polygon proof of stake, but there is now Zkey EVM that was released in beta mainnet 2 months ago. The fees are right now about 5% of what you have on Ethereum, but it should be reduced by 10 or 40 times by the end of the year. And I think at that point, it's going to really be a big reference in terms of scalability. So it's much more than what we already have. There are a lot of other players offering different roll-ups in the space. So we'll see what happens. I think Ethereum, most people are on Ethereum and potentially other chains. I'm curious about the audience, like, who are the things that we need to replace Ethereum, I don't know, maybe in 5 or 10 years? Can you raise your hand if you think then, or if you have maybe a reaction? It would be interesting.
A replacement.
Yeah.
A full replacement.
I don't know. Yeah. That's
Okay, can we see
debate.
some cards? Is that a yes or a no? Okay, we see one yes, one no, two no's, three. So the majority says no. We do not need to replace Ethereum in 10 years. Okay. Your opinion? Oh, well, we have Axenia.
My opinion, I think when Bitcoin was created, it solved the problem. It was about a fundamental right, private property, and we got back the ownership. There isn't an inflationary token, and we control our property again. And then Ethereum came up later to solve another problem, having on-chain application algorithm, and we don't know what's gonna come up in 10 years, because when Ethereum was new, not many people actually understood like how useful it was gonna be. So maybe right now there is something, or something is gonna appear very soon, but we will only realize 10 years later, oh, that was a major breakthrough, and this is so essential. So it takes some time for new innovations to really get adoption and understood by most people. But we are so used to our paradigm. So all of us, we are in the blockchain space, but even for most people who don't involve in blockchain, all of what we do is really, we are like aliens to them right now. So it really takes some time for adoption, but we're really going in the right direction. Numbers show it. So about Ethereum in particular, I think it's really a security layer.
Yes, good point. I think that's a really good way to state it.
And if we want to replace it, I don't know if it's really needed, but we would really need a big innovation, a breakthrough in terms of, I don't know, maybe technology or some things that's really useful for the developers, the community, or the whole ecosystem.
And
yes.
Ethereum did like a great job in terms of making Web3 known, and every blockchain is only as good as the teams working on that blockchain. So Ethereum with Punks, with Bike Club, they brought a lot of people who started to know what are NFTs, and then it became like a chase for the NFTs that for normal people, they don't know, like why would I pay thousands of dollars for a picture? And now there is other teams popping up on other blockchains which are way more welcoming to a user who doesn't want to spend thousands of dollars on a picture, and creating real-life solutions, maybe social mechanics, and interacting with NFTs in a simple way, in a very fast transaction speed and very low gas fees. So NFTs, Ethereum, I don't think it will die, because the talent working on Ethereum is just really great. But there will be more and more other products and other teams showing up on blockchains like Ton, Algorand, Polygon.
Yeah, there's one thing that I say a lot is that I see the future of NFTs and blockchains in general. I really believe that in a few years we will not be here speaking about Ethereum or Algorand or Polygon, or it's about us adopting a technology to evolve the world. We will all do it in many different ways, right? We can do it in real-world applications. We can do it with, NFTs or overpriced JPEGs, as some people like to call it. There are many ways to do it. There are many ways to collect. There are many ways to impact the world. I think that the point here is that we are all fighting the same fight, right?
Are we?
Are we?
Because, if you spend a little time on Twitter Spaces, you'll realize that people are very tribal. They're clans. They're the Nakamigo clan. They're the Sappy Seals.
Yeah.
They're the Pepe people. And they will fight to the death on their opinion. This is the thing. When I entered the crypto scene, my background is development. So I'm a back-end engineer. And I learned about crypto from a technical standpoint. And I actually thought that all of crypto was DeFi. naive me, you know. So this is before I really started connecting to community and meeting people and showing up in person. I thought that all of cryptocurrency was essentially decentralized finance. And then as I started to kind of delve deeper and meet with people in person and attend events, I understood that there are many, many layers to it. And then I went one step further and really started investing my time in Twitter Spaces. And that was a new, like, you know, taking of innocence, let's call it like that, of really spending time with JPEG people, the JPEG culture, and realizing how deeply divided people are. I think that I agree with you. I'm playing devil's advocate here in the sense of we are sort of chasing a similar dream, and we are trying to counterbalance, you know, centralized finance and the banking system. But if you delve a bit deeper, you realize that we're actually quite divided, and you're going to find the Bitcoin maxis who will literally say, you know, Ethereum, never heard of it, never heard of her. So, you know, it's nice to say that, and I think that we like to repeat it, and fair and balanced people will, but the truth is a little bit more complex. What is that? The truth is a bit more complex. I'm seeing the Discord, and I'm seeing some interesting things being commented, actually, and I want to know who Room Tipak is. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Who are you? You're putting some interesting comments in the Discord. Do you want to come up on stage? Or is this person not here?
But let me get back a little to your point.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that we are very tribal in the NFT space, and that's great. And I think like the goal for us is to build ecosystems. The goal for each blockchain, and also all of us together, build ecosystems in which those tribes can also exist. Like there is one big goal for all of us, but you can still be a Nakamigo guy, or you can still be Bitcoin maxi. Doesn't matter. Like we all fight in the same war.
Do we have any Bitcoin maxis in the room? I was really hoping we'd have at least one.
Let's talk about NFC. We're here for that, right?
True. I mean, yes, but the topic is a little bit more on the blockchain side, to be fair. But hey, so who is John B? Everyone's so shy. No one wants to get on stage. No one wants to get on stage and argue with us. That's unfortunate. Okay. So we have another question. Essentially, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I was thinking about bridging because right now we have friction to transfer our tokens, our do transaction from one blockchain to another. And sometimes people go through like more than 2 blockchains to do something. Like they have to move their token from one chain to another, then everything else to another one. It takes time, it takes fees. So little by little, we have more and more bridges. And what's going to happen in a few years when all the chains will be more or less connected, where fees will be super low, and we won't have that friction where the UX, UI will be maybe super easy, and through our app, maybe on our mobile phone, we'll just be able to use like multiple chains at the same time, and in, I don't know, 1 or 2 clicks. So, I don't know, is it going to change the game of what we have right now?
I believe yes, personally. I see some nodding over there as well. I think yes, because to both of these ladies' points is that the essential goal is mass adoption. And it is to counterbalance centralized finance and taking control back to the individual and to ownership. And I think that these things will be irrelevant. We will not be talking about it. It will be a back-end situation, and we'll not be discussing, you know, what's under the hood of the Ferrari constantly. We'll be talking about the different features that the exterior, at the UI, UX, as you said. We'll be discussing that more, and branding, I think, will be most important.
Yeah, and to an end user, it doesn't matter what blockchain is behind it. As long as they can do what they want to do, that's it. And the easier it is, the better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to bring something here for discussion. It's about real-world use cases, right? Like, because we were talking about, you know, having Ethereum maximalists or Bitcoin maximalists or Bored Apes or NFTs, but when it comes to real world cases, when it comes to thinking about our own identities, the things that we can change on our daily lives through NFTs and through blockchain also. I think that in this case we really need ETH killers, right? I think that we will never. Thank you. I think we will never be able to change our real world with such high gas fees in transactions. I think we need to start looking at the other blockchains that will allow us to act differently as in our social lives, as governments, as people, and as cities. So for me, that's really inspiring, and looking at the future of blockchain and the future of ourselves also as humans and our interaction with blockchains. I think that Ethereum is not going to make it, to be absolutely honest.
Very solid points.
I'm really curious about what's going to come out when layer 3 is really a thing, because it's only the beginning. You have some chains that offer such solution, but for example, at Polygon, we have supernets. We have a really famous use case. It's with immutable X. For example, they use that key EVM, but they have their own supernets. It's like they have their own chain. To run it, they use the Polygon technology, they stake in Matic, but they also have their own token. And all their games will be connected on that supernet, which is kind of an L3, a Polygon L3. And every big company, every, project that wants to deploy that will be able to have its custom chain to fit its needs. So it's little by little, it continues to be more and more democratized and easy to use.
And we need to remember that Ethereum's been around for what, about a decade? So we're putting a lot of expectation and pressure on something that's very, very new. If we were judging the financial system only 10 years in and people were trading shells or whatever they were trading, and we were like, oh, these guys are so silly, So I think that we need to zoom out a bit and have a bit of empathy for ourselves and for the people that are building these things, and also for the culture. Some really interesting things being said there. So there's a question maybe the panel can answer. What do you guys think about chain agnostic user experience? And that's from Ivan CO. I hope I pronounced it right. That's you. Anyone want to answer that?
I can start. Yes, I can start. I think that chain agnostic is the future. Of course, I work for the Algorand Foundation. I'm responsible for the adoption of that technology, but the vision for me, it's really clear, and of course it's my personal opinion, my own opinion on this, but as I was saying, I think we will not talk about each or that blockchain in the future. I think we are all working for the same goal and looking for the same adoption in the end of the day, and I really would like to see in my ideal world, we would be chain agnostic already.
Another question. Aren't layer 2s afraid of being so reliable or like reliant on Ethereum?
I think that's for you, Matt.
Okay, I take it. Actually, that's a good question. You can use that key EVM basically with any, you could, for example, deploy your supernet and use another token. So it's, we can have the same infrastructure running a bit differently, I guess. The technical team will validate that. But the idea is that there is a lot of research and development. Every month there is new advancement, and it's going really, really fast. And we now have chains with rollups that can scale so much more. And I think next year is going to make a lot of noise when the use case, the applications will be running on these chains massively. We won't have the limitations that we know of as right now, like gas fees, speed. It's just going to increase exponentially. And to follow up with the previous question, I think we're becoming more and more chain agnostic. I think Polygon will be able to scale. It's already technologically speaking able to scale another chain. The same it does with Ethereum. So there are a lot of possibilities there, and it will keep evolving. I don't think we are limited right now. We're still discovering so many new use cases and possibilities every day. So looking forward to it.
I think chain agnostic will make sense a lot in the future. And like even now, do any of you know like there is like Telegram Premium that you get like extensive features to access that? And also Telegram has like usernames that are NFTs and phone numbers that are NFTs. And even in this market, which is in the recession, that little example of real world use case, which is very easily understandable to people, being thriving. And this is really proves the point that as long as we bring use cases and in the ecosystem, for example, like Telegram and beyond that, and then we build bridges between ecosystem, you can be chain agnostic.
I actually, I have never noticed Telegram Premium.
No, you should
No.
check it out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You have like a bigger messages. You have a little thing.
I mean,
next to
Telegram
your
in
name.
itself is like its own world, and I know that. But I find that it's also super noisy, you know. So I tend to have, you know, like everything on mute, and then go on there when I have to. But it's genuinely its own world, and I think there's so much utility to Telegram. I have to kind of like look into that a bit more. I saw a comment about the fact that people are tribal and only care about their bags. I have a question for the crowd. I'd love to see some cards. Is that actually a problem? Greed, a problem, yes. I see one. Problematic. Why is it problematic that people care about their bags and that they're greedy? Does anybody want to say? I saw a green card from you. I'm looking at you. That's right.
Oh, no, I'm not coming on stage. No, I'm not coming on stage. Thank you. The point is, like, you know, there's so much adversity against crypto and against Web3, and I believe that if this industry cannot put it together and have like a single vision of where we want to go, like nobody's going to understand where we want to go. So, like, yes, everybody's holding a bag, everybody's kind of like defending their bags, but we need to look beyond that and kind of promote the technology together.
Yes, very well said. Thank you very much. I think that's well said, but realistically, even in traditional financial markets, this is what drives everything. It's sort of this capitalist idea, and I think we're trying to counterbalance that. But how do we, as individuals, and I think the people who are here are trying to do what you said, and I think that's a beautiful thing to see Non-Fungible Conference and all of these people gather because they're working in this industry and care, and I think that we, for the most part, even though some people might be, you know, about their bag, because we need to like pay our bills and, you know, show off our PFPs. But I think that for the most part we're here because we care about the technology and we care about a different future and building something a bit different and less ugly than what has been created for us that we live in right now. And I think, how do we sort of cultivate, this is from my panel, how do we cultivate an environment that is less greedy and individualistic and all about, you know, my personal gain, but rather about building towards the community without being unrealistic of human nature, if that makes any sense.
Thanks for the question. My team is really strong with social mechanics and we love fun things. And we have a slogan like, make NFTs fun again, instead of just flipping them and making it as an asset to earn money. So just by building really easy and fun things to communicate with NFTs, like a little game when you crack one NFT with another and you win money, brings normal people into Web3 space because they go there for fun. It costs like $1 to join and then really cool price and just vibrant community to be a part of. And again, it doesn't have to be crypto NFT in their minds. It's just some little asset to be a part of something fun. And for us, it's been working, and this is our vision where we like push into and want to help people to join that train.
Yeah, I can go next. I love that idea of making NFTs fun again, but I tend to disagree that we should push for that, that angle only because the future and the vision is that we should use NFTs without knowing that we are using NFTs. We should use NFTs for evolving the way how we interact in our daily lives, and we should use NFTs to change the real world where we live now, because behind each NFT or behind each PFP, there's a person, there's a human being, and even though we are all talking and amazed by this first adoption of NFTs, which is art, culture, and communities, which is beautiful, exciting, but on the other side, there are still people that need some solutions to solve real-world problems. And where does blockchain have a role on that? Where will we evolve the way how we act as human beings, the world where we live now through this beautiful technology? And for me, that is the key. And for me, this is about bringing mass adoption to countries, to cities, to governments, and to, European Commission and all these big entities who are really there on the ground changing realities. These are the people that we need to explain that they should adopt this technology and that they should make it massive.
Very beautifully said.
So I have a personal idea of something I would like to see in the space that I don't really see as of right now, is about the creative economy. So we usually see a lot of big companies owning all the license from creators. It can be different artists, it can be comics artists, singers, musicians, etc. And we could have more open source. We could have a platform where artists add their creations, they automatically choose a license, and then you would have, I don't know, maybe a video game studio that could pick a music, some piece of art, and if they make money out of it, they could automatically, on-chain, share some of the revenues. And it would really be a virtuous cycle, I think, where creators can share their stuff online massively, and when someone, I don't know, needs some pictures or some music or sound, they would share their revenues in a virtuous way, and that's what also blockchain allows, like trustless solutions when we remove intermediary and allow new use case that is better for everyone.
Woo! We have a great question also in the back, and I think that's also for you, Matt. Sorry, it's from Ivan Theo. Ivan Theo? Sorry.
So, should I read it? Okay. How do you see the identity space evolving, especially with Polygon ID and self-sovereign identities? So there are a lot of different solutions in the work, in the blockchain space. About Polygon ID, you're going to hear a lot in the coming months. So wait for announcements maybe in our events, or follow us on our Twitter. So Polygon ID is really a nice solution. You can have, for example, a check about your age online. So for example, on that website, you want people who are over 18 years old, but you don't want to save their personal data. You don't want their passport or identity card saved on a private server from your organization, because you want to be, I don't know, more compliant with the regulation. You want to be more ethics. It can be different reasons. But you can have an on-chain algorithm that will check that you fulfill certain conditions, and it's automatically validated. So simple check, but basically, just to make a quick recap, Polygon ID is a solution for projects, for developers, for companies to integrate a decentralized ID solutions. So KYC, KYB, etc. And we're still very early. It's nice to jump and catch the train.
Okay. I thought someone had something to say. Let's look at another one. So I see a few comments. I see John B. You say, but unless more people get on board and keep building, no one will make money. And this is the thread, you know, it's like technology is beautiful, we're building gorgeous things, but at the same time, there's this concern of, are we making money? And at this particular moment in time, we are in a bear market, or some people may debate that there's still life, but for the most part, we're in a little bit of a hibernation at the moment. And that affects everything. You can see that it affects how people interact with each other, how they speak privately, how they feel about their projects, how confident they are. And how do you see, other than having amazing technology that works, if there is not an incentive to genuinely drive and keep things going, what is the answer? Is that too long of a question? Joana.
Yeah, I think the drive here, and to your point about like people are not making money and it's a bear market, I think it's a time to build, and it's the time to keep evolving. I think that there's a cycle. We are here. We were there. We will be there again. It's more about like who keeps building while we are here. What are the solutions that are built while we are here? At the Algorand, and from the foundation perspective, I'm seeing really, really great things being built right now. I think that the layer of knowledge, the layer of thoughts that are put in the tools that are being built right now is absolutely different from the tools that we're building while we were in a bear market and in a bull market. So I'm also bullish on bear markets, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I'm bullish on the builders that are here. I'm bullish on the thoughts that arise from these difficult moments. So it's not about us as a person making money or not. It's about as a blockchain, as a system that is here to change realities. What are we doing during these times? So yeah.
100%. I think I've had the most growth in the past 6 months, and it was a time when everyone was like, things don't look good. And I feel like when you don't have that opportunity to kind of, be hypey and celebrating, it's when you spend time looking in the mirror and saying, what can I do differently? What can we build differently? How do we capture more people? And I think this is the beauty of having, L1, L2 in general, is to kind of create that diversity of interaction with individuals.
I also think like the teams behind the projects and the leadership behind the projects, these are very smart people, and they also see the problems that are happening right now, and the solutions they're bringing. Like those are solutions which exactly take time, and it's really about how we communicate to a casual user to make them welcome, make them join the space, and then builders make them transform from Web 2 to Web 3. And this is a process. At times it's education, but it's gonna happen.
Absolutely. I see a really great question in the back. Do we have any advice for builders building in a bear market? What should builders focus on that allows them to create long-term value, while at the same time is pragmatic to see through the bear run? The bull run? Bull run, maybe? You meant to put bear. Okay. Yes. Good question. Any advice for builders that are building?
Yeah, I think that the most difficult part while building in this bear market is about the consistency. So keeping the consistency while times are not consistent. I think the key for this is to find a really strong team first. If you don't have that opportunity to outsource in your community, who is able to support you through valuable feedback, because we are all struggling, right? As investors, as blockchains, as builders. So we are all going through the same waters, and how to navigate these waters is exactly how to ask for feedback. So my biggest advice here is to keep the feedback flowing and to, keep going in these hard waters. and hard
Yes,
times.
and I can say, to answer your question, I have an interesting background because I am a back-end engineer, but as you can see, I'm a very front-end person as well. And I think that for a builder, we tend to be quite insular, you know, focusing on the product, does it work, how can we improve it, etc. But I think that we need to become less insular and actually ask people who are not interacting with crypto or NFTs how they feel, what they think about it. And I think that getting that feedback is super important, because you don't simply want to market and to be utilized by the people in this room. You do want to expand eventually. And I think that as a builder, you really need to listen to the market. And I think there needs to be a lot more of that. And I can see that a lot of the products that exist, although they're amazing, are sort of designed for the degen, you know, and for the degen-minded person and their taste level. You know, you can almost pinpoint the age group, you know, the things that they're interested in, the music they listen to, who they hang out with. And I think the demographic needs to widen. And I think it needs, you know, we're trying to counterbalance that sort of very, like, clean, corporate Web 2 idea. And I think we've gone a little bit too far. And I think we need to find the middle ground, because not everybody wants to, you know, put their finances in a bank that, you know, that looks like a giraffe. It might be fun for us and funny to a certain extent, but you need to think like, you know, will my cousin, who's never heard of technology in that deeper regard, will she want to interact with it and put her, you know, 20K of savings in that, that product? So I think we need to listen to the market.
So I think in the coming months or next year, we will hear a lot about the UX that will improve. You can search for account abstraction. Just I don't want